Tony Gordon.
Fellow Toastmasters, I think we don't have any guests today, and fellow citizens of the United States. My wife and I immigrated some 23 years ago, and it was, that's 23 years, and it's taken 23 years to go through this Americanization process. Have any of you ever seen the movie with Robin Williams called Moscow on the Hudson? It was a movie about Robin Williams, who plays a part of a trombone player in a Russian circus that's touring New York. And this was at the time of the Iron Curtain, where they were people who lived in Russia were completely sequestered from what it was like in the Western world. So they came to New York, they ended up in the Macy's department store. They couldn't believe what they saw, what was there, what's available to Americans as consumers. So he decides that he's going to defect and not go back with the circus. So he hides away when they eventually leave, and he ends up staying there and meets a couple of other Russian immigrants who also have defected. And the one statement that they made, and when they talk amongst each other, was, "What a country, what a country." They would always say that, "What a country," about how great America is. And it's true, it is a great country, and I think sometimes being a naturalized American, you appreciate that a little bit more than an American, because you've lived in another country and you can make the comparisons. And that's what I'd like to do, is when I make the comparisons between America, it makes me realize how fortunate we are to live in a country like America. But you know, America's becoming an American. You go through a process, you go through the crucible of Americanization. And that's something that born Americans don't have to do. They say that, on a more serious note, they say that next to losing a loved one, immigration is one of the most traumatic experiences, emotional experiences there is. And those that have immigrated, when you've left your families and you've moved to another country, can appreciate that. But there is a lighter side of immigration, and that's what I'd like to talk to about today. And I can think of some of my experience, and I'd like to share with just a few of these experiences with you, what it involved going through the Americanization process. The first thing that I noticed was the way dates are written. You remember, if we look at this date there, 7/3/53 and 3/7/53, that's the way date 7/3/53 would be the way how, meaning the 7th of March 1953 is how it would be in other countries not like America, and 3/7/53 would be in America the 7th of March. Well, you wouldn't think that this makes a lot of difference, but when I was studying for the bar and I had to do questions on contract law and offers and acceptance, and I got it and I looked at the dates and I said, but this doesn't make sense, because the acceptance date was before the offer date. How can that be? Anyway, I eventually worked that out, but that was really just the tip of the iceberg. The next thing that I had to get used to was how I speak, because you can probably hear I sound somewhat differently to the way most of you speak. And I was having a particular problem with my name. Every time someone asked me my name, or I introduced myself on the phone and I said my name's Tony Gordon, that took on various permutations to the American ear. Became Tiny Golden, Barney Golden, Bernie Golden, Attorney Golden. Anyway, but one of the most remarkable differences and part of a culture is the language. And even though English is my mother tongue, I had to some extent relearn what it was like to speak American or American English. And I remember in my first deposition I was taking that involved a particular telephone conversation with about a witness who was admitted. I was examining a witness about a conversation he had with a hospital when his wife was admitted to the hospital. And I was questioning him on the particular conversation that he had, and I said, "No, was that all was said?" "Yes." "Are you sure?" "Yes." "Nothing further was said?" "No." "So what did you do then? Did you put down the phone?" He looked at me, he says, "No." I said, "What did you do?" He says, "I hung up." In South Africa, we would say when you finished on the phone, you'd say, "I put down the phone. Over here it's hung up." The next thing is also during the same deposition, every time I refer to him and say, so what time was your wife taken to hospital? And he looked at me and he said, oh, then the reporter says, well, shouldn't we put the in between? You see, in South Africa, when you talk, you say he's going to hospital. Over here, you say he's going to the hospital. In any event, that was just some of the few things, but I've subsequently learned that a lorry is called a truck. A lorry is called a truck. Flat is an apartment. The sidewalk is the pavement is the sidewalk. Petrol is gas. The glove box is the cubby hole. A handbag is a purse, and it goes on. I've also learned now that when in my American way, if I'm in court and I have to make the particular objection when the question keeps on being asked over and over again, the objection, now I know, is asked and answered, not asked and answered. Another one I've also learned, that from now on I say, can I have a glass of water instead of a glass of water? Thank you.